Without exception, every single house that I've gone into that's 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars, they're obsessively anal about organization and discipline. Any day you go in, the house will be spotless. It takes that kind of clinical OCD mindset of having discipline, having everything organized. That mindset and trait, that's what it takes to get to that level.
If you thought there were like big money breakthroughs or hacks or secrets that you share with people that are probably not secrets, what would those things be? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am stoked for today's guest. This is the man, Michael Balliet. There's so much, dude. Like, you are high level in the real estate game. Before that, I had to do my research on you, and you were in the financial world for a long time. So I would love to talk about all of it. And what I want to focus on with you, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell some of your story. Michael and I have gotten to grow a relationship over the course of the last few years. And if I know one thing, there is a mentality and a mindset and a presence that you have, and you deal with people who are at I would argue, on another level. And I think you yourself and your family are on another level, and the honor of getting to know and to meet you and your daughters and just genuinely kind of like watch you grow over the last few years has been an honor. And I would love to just chat with you about all of it today. Yes. So thank you for being here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's dive in, dude. I would just give me the story of, I would love to know about your upbringing, because something I don't personally know about you, because our 10 minutes together at a time. Just kind of give us where you're at. And for anybody listening, so Michael has a couple cool things. Works for a real estate group, but then you're also have Balliet and Wang Luxury Living, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I'll let you talk a little bit about that in a second. So Michael, he's just doing a ton of stuff. But let's start at the very beginning, man. What was the upbringing? Because to get here, Dana Point, Orange County, South Orange County, I'm sure it was a journey.
It has been a crazy journey. Yeah. It's, it's funny. Well, thanks for the great intro, by the way.
Of course,
humbling, and have crazy respect for you. You take care of my body, which is,
appreciate it.
As you've taught me, is connected to my mind. Yep. So it all kind of loops together.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I noticed that when I start my Mondays every morning at 7:00 on the dot.
Yep.
It just sets the tone for my life. And that goes back to consistency, discipline, those types of things. But to answer your question, we'll circle all the way back to childhood.
Yeah.
I grew up a blue collar family.
Yep.
My father and grandfather were butchers. We had a
cool,
food business.
Cool.
Yeah. So actually, my first obsession is and always has been food, and not food from having a eating disorder.
Yeah.
It was I was just around it.
Yep.
Just the mechanics of it, serving it to people. Making it available to people, and that stems my early childhood through a service business.
Yep.
So I was exposed at a very early age. My father was the type that, I think, I don't even remember what age, but very young, 10 years old or 11 years old or something. It was I had to go to work. And I worked in the butcher shop, cleaning dishes and cleaning machines and cleaning floors and that kind of stuff. And I did that during grade school. We opened a restaurant. I worked in the restaurant. I did busboy. I did cleaning. I did dishes. I did all that stuff.
Yeah.
As I got a little bit older, I did that for a long time, for 8 years.
Yep.
All through school. I didn't really get a chance to play sports because my father was like, listen, you want to drive a car? You got to pay for your own gas. You got to pay for your own insurance.
Yeah.
You can play sports, but you're going to ride your bike.
Yep.
So I chose to have money and make money and, that kind of thing. So that early work ethic came from that.
Yep.
And that was old school. His father put him to work when he was
100%.
2. Yeah. The olden days,
Yep.
And he'd get, a week's worth of pay was how many pennies you could grab with your hand.
Yeah, of course.
So anyway, fast forward, I was, ending high school and trying to decide what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And I was really inspired by the food business, and I thought I was going to go to culinary school.
Okay.
Applied, was kind of in that process, but then I was also weirdly attracted to the finance business.
Yep.
Crazy enough, and it's a funny story. The movie Wall Street
Yeah, yeah.
was right, during the 80s when I was just graduating from high school, and I was really obsessed with it. And believe it or not, old school butcher, my grandfather was a saver, so he used to,
Hmm.
invest in stocks and,
Yep.
built some great wealth around that, believe it or not. And he had a stockbroker,
Yeah.
which they called back then stockbrokers,
Yep.
but at Merrill Lynch. And I was talking with my grandfather about it, and he was like, hey, why don't you go over the summer and just intern with them and, see what they do? And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that sounds cool. So I was right at this crossroads of whether I was going to go into food or finance. I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really a great student.
Sure.
I mean, I was actually one of the worst students. I was a terrible student. Um, it just, I don't know, the way my brain works, it was like it just didn't fit with me at that time.
Yep.
And so I was like, so I didn't go the traditional route of a 4-year education straight out of high school.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was got a summer internship at Merrill Lynch
Yep.
with my grandfather's stockbroker, and was just enamored by it. I was like blown away by it. I went and bought a crazy expensive suit that I only had one,
Yep.
and had a couple of different shirts and a couple of different ties, and pretty much wore it like 5 days a week
Yeah.
until I could get another suit. But yeah, I was really, kind of blown away. And, what I learned early on was there's tons of these guys online now that say your network is your net
For
worth,
sure.
which couldn't be more true. I
Yeah.
mean, it's literally who you know and what you do and how you apply it. Because I met some really good people. I was young. I was like 19 years old.
Yeah.
Um, met a guy who I aligned with, who kind of believed in me and was
Hmm.
like, "Hey, listen, I can kind of mentor you in this business." And this. So he started me on a track, and then fate stepped in. There was a woman that he knew that he said, "Hey, this woman is looking for a trading assistant on the bond trading desk, and I think you'd be great for it. So you should go meet her." I was like, "Wow, I don't even know what that means,"
Yeah.
but like, okay. So I literally put on my one suit
Yep.
and a red tie, and I remember going to grab a beer with her, and I was, like 19.
19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, maybe I was 20 at this time. And long story short, we clicked immediately. She was like, "I love you. Can you start tomorrow?" And so that was my first full time job. And I started as a bond trading assistant, and I just did whatever she wanted. I, get coffee, figure out how to organize things or
Sure.
whatever. But I learned really very quickly. And that actually, believe it or not, escalated from being bond trading assistant. By the time I was like 20 and a half, like a year and a half later, basically got promoted to a trader, very quickly got promoted to manager, very quickly took her job. And
Wow.
so by the time I was like 22, I was, trading, managing a bond desk,
Yep.
and, you know, the rest is kind of history. I spent, I don't know, almost 2 decades in some finance capacity. I went
Sure.
from trading to institutional sales to high net worth sales to management.
Hmm.
And when I finally left the finance industry, I'd worked for all the major banks and kind
Yeah.
of just went up through the ranks. And what happened with me is I learned that no matter how high you got in any role at any bank, there was
Hmm.
always someone above you who was kind of just protecting their job.
Sure.
And it was, I just decided I really wanted to work for myself.
Yep.
And that was, and I'm just obviously encapsulated into a,
No,
very,
dude, you're
very,
it's
very
doing
quick
great.
cliff notes.
Yeah,
But
this is awesome.
I decided that I wanted to work for myself, and I was kind of overworking for people. And
Sure.
so that was the time when I just decided I had, 25 years in the finance space, and
Yep.
I wanted to do something else. I didn't know what it was. My oldest daughter was in like 8th grade, I think.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to spend more time with her. Cause I also, by the way, over the last, 2 decades, I was traveling millions of miles.
Yep.
Like my travel schedule was insane. So I wanted to be around for that. So decided I didn't really know what exactly I was going to do. My family's business was struggling because my dad was sick. So I decided to basically leave banking, go and help them
Sure.
get that in order. So I was actually commuting from here, Orange County, to the San Francisco Bay Area,
Wow.
back and forth for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Um, which was tough. I would go spend 3 or 4 days up there. I'd come home. I'd go spend 3 or 4 or 5 days up there. I'd come
Yep.
home. And so got that in really working order. The one business that's left is still old fashioned butcher shop in Berkeley, California. That is, been there for God, 70 years.
So cool,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So hired the right management team. This
Yeah.
guy's been running it since then. It was like 2012 or something like that.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then after that, I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'll probably start my own business.
Sure.
I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm really into technology. I thought I'd start something, and I was looking around. I was taking care of myself. I was just, taking care of the girls and that kind of stuff as well, because my wife's always worked. And my brother-in-law actually was like, had started a boutique brokerage
Yep.
focused on the luxury space. And he said, Michael, why don't you get your real estate license? So it's like, I don't know. Let me think about that. Let me look into that. So I
Yeah.
started doing some research. I spent a little time with him. I spent some time, checking out open houses and doing that kind of stuff. So I spent about a year kind of thinking about it, and finally decided, okay, well, it can't hurt. I mean, I'll get my license and see what
For
happens.
sure.
And I'm not the type of person that dabbles in anything. So I just jumped
All
straight
in.
in and
Yep.
like went crazy. And, it's been, I guess about 9 years now. So, and the space has been good. I was fortunate that I jumped into, um, another family business.
Sure.
I love family businesses. Working, the real estate space, you do work for yourself,
Yep.
although you align with a brokerage,
Of
or,
course.
I aligned with my brother-in-law, who we became like partners, but not,
Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily, direct partners. But we're very aligned on everything, and we work together on a lot of projects and a lot of homes and a lot of listings and a lot of clients.
Yep.
So I did have that benefit of springboarding off of what he had already started.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go start from complete scratch, although my business was from scratch,
Sure.
right? It's like I didn't have any real estate clients,
Yep.
but I know a lot of wealthy people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been using my skill set of dealing with institutions and ultra high net worth people
Yeah.
and managing people's money and having very high level conversations with CEOs and mergers and acquisitions and all these different things,
Yep.
that it was not, like I had sold shoes and then had to figure out how to sell homes,
Right. Right.
and I had bought and sold my own home. So I knew the process. Um, I'm pretty quick study. So it ended up, here I am today. I've built my own team within a team.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned Balliet Luxury Living also built a real estate business and building a media company as well, which is right now a magazine,
Yep.
and it's dedicated to our client segment, which is primarily very heavy Chinese immigrants who come to the U.S. to buy real estate in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
luxury space. And we have found out, just very simply, that we were being asked all the time, where do you shop? Where do you eat? Where do you get your nanny? This, that, the other thing. And we were
Mm-hmm.
like, these are all luxury buyers of consumable goods
Of
or
course.
services,
Yeah.
right? So, and these are all things that we're already doing. Why not make a magazine?
Yep.
So that was a natural progression for us, which has been super fun. I love to learn new stuff. So, that it's now I have 2 full-time jobs.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
But luckily the kids are all out of the house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, I have more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
Man, there's so much that you shared. I want to go back. So did you ever like go to college?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
And
Yeah.
graduated?
Well, that's a great question. It's kind of a double-edged. So I'll get straight to that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
during working, so as a bond trader, I would be at work
Mhm.
mostly around 4:30 a.m. and then I'd be done around 2:30.
Yep.
And one of my mentors early on was this guy called Leon. And Leon, called me, and he was the one that promoted me to the manager of the bond desk. And he said, "Hey, listen, I really think it'd be a good idea if you go to college."
Sure.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I went to the University of San Francisco. I'm on the board there. If you want to go, I can get you in, no problem."
Yep.
I was like, "I don't really think I need to." At this time, I mean, this is like early 90s. I'm making hundred and something thousand
Yeah.
dollars. And I was like, "What do I need to do that for?" And he's like, "I really would like you to." I was
Sure.
like, "Okay, kind." So he basically scoots me in the front door
Yep.
of USF. And so I start going, get admitted, start going. And I actually was starting to really enjoy it. I was
Mhm.
like, totally different mindset. You know, the mindset,
100%.
I was a little bit older. I was appreciating why I was there. But the other side of that was, I forget, in an econ class or something, and the professor's, teaching his way of teaching it, and I didn't really agree with what he was saying.
Well, and you're in the field,
Yeah,
right?
and I
Yeah.
was like, and I'm making more money than you
Yeah,
at
yeah.
21 years old. I was just kind of like, so I had matured,
Yep.
but I also was sort of like, okay, well, let me just do this for him.
Sure.
And I hate doing things for other people for their reasons, right?
Yep.
So I was, I don't know, 3 semesters in, and I got a job offer to move to LA to start a bond desk of my own. And I was like, I really want to move. I
Yeah.
really want to do this. And I didn't really want to be tied down by school, actually.
Sure.
And I was just like, eh. And so I just basically decided I was ready to do that. So I moved to LA.
Yep.
And so that kind of was the end of that for that time period. So I didn't graduate from there.
Yep.
Yeah. So at this time, so there then starts my whole finance career.
Right.
Kind of middle career, I transitioned into a company. We were moving to New York. So I got a job in marketing for a bond insurance company. And I had no marketing experience. It's just, I sold myself very well. And the person who hired me thought my skill set was unique to all the applicants. She was seeing applicants with people with marketing skills. I had markets, intelligence, and like I knew how the markets worked.
Right.
I was a trader. So dealing with the bankers and the bond insurance, the issuers and these kind of type of things was like natural. And I guess I'm kind of a natural marketer.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the lingo.
Yep.
So I went and applied for a program at NYU that they ended up paying for. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Which was a 2-year program. It was like an executive program for, for global markeing. And I did that 2-year program and I crammed it into 1 year. So I did graduate. I did graduate from that. It wasn't an official like MBA program. It was like a degree program of some sorts. I forget what they called it, but anyway, so I graduated from that. But, and I graduated from the School of Hard Knocks, like most people. So.
Well, and that's why I ask is because like you made a good point in the beginning, and I don't want people to miss it because I think I even had a conversation with the kid yesterday in here. He's like, I'm worried about my GPA, and you even said it. You're like, it's not like I was a good student, but you had the work ethic, and I like to remind people that yes, I had to go to college to be a doctor, but more importantly, I think is the fact that if you have a certain skill set, then it will take you way further than learning math, science, English, history, because you learned most of the market by just being in it and like doing something with it versus like you said, you're like, I knew more than this instructor who's teaching me econ because you had lived in the real world and done it before going to school for it. And so I just like, there's some jobs that you have to, but I think it's just an important thing. And like, it's the skill sets that matter, not so much like the content that you're learning.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only thing I'll say is for any young people listening is that I thought I knew more than him.
Yep.
I may have known a couple of things specific to what I was doing that I knew more of, but that was a very young, naive, and arrogant mindset.
That's good, man. That's a good share.
Yeah. Because like at my age, I'll be 50, I don't know, 5 next month. We have the ability to know what we don't know and have the humility, or I have the humility to say, like that was very young and arrogant and it's like very cocky, like, oh, I'll make more than you, blah, blah, blah. It's so stupid. Right now I'm going through this because, you listen to a lot of people these days online who are Gary V, like, Grant Cardone, whoever, that are all saying that 4-year degrees don't matter anymore. You should take that money and invest in yourself. You can learn everything online, and you can, learn everything from YouTube or Google or
whatever,
ChatGPT, whatever it is. I don't disagree with that philosophy or mindset or what they're saying, but I have, a child who just got into a 4-year institution, which I'm paying for, and it gladly, because I think that while those things might be true, it's like saying everyone could be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Less than 5%.
Less than 0.01%.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Like, yeah, people just, it's tough.
Yeah, for sure.
And after people get knocked down 1 or 2 times, usually people stay down. And it's the ones that can get knocked down 100 times that keep getting back, that will
Yep.
never stay down.
Yep.
Those are the ones that can be an entrepreneur, and not every kid's like that. And our kids these days are raised differently,
Sure.
have access to information like now.
Yep.
I mean, when I was a kid, I would sound too old, but if you wanted information, you go down to the library and sort through the cards, and like now it's like
Chat GPT.
you got everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So they do have an advantage. However, I also think that a lot of children aren't emotionally and mentally ready for the real world at right after
Sure.
12th grade.
Yeah.
Um, some countries force people to go into the military, which I think is a brilliant idea. I wish we had that. Teach some discipline, because it's not every child is kind of ready for it. So
Yeah.
I sent mine off to college to mature, build networks, have fun, and come out with a degree that I don't think. This is the real challenge right now. I had to really think hard and long about this, and we deliberated about it at home. Let's say you pick something today. She just started a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yep.
4 years from now,
For sure.
that vocation that you're thinking about is probably going to be run by a computer that's way smarter than us. And I have no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
There'll be a few things, maybe what you do that's really hands-on that, I mean, someday maybe there'll be a robot doing it, but and who knows how long that is. But if you are choosing to go to college right now, I think, again, for the network, like your network is your net worth.
For sure.
That's what I told her. And my older daughter, who got a job in marketing, same thing I told her. Listen, look at your job as no one goes to work and spends 30 years at the same job anymore.
Yep.
No one.
Yep.
Zero. Every person you meet is a potential stepping stone to your next opportunity. Get on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Make connections, make an impact, have meaningful conversations, but treat every person that you meet as, someone who could build like the foundation for your next step.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that whole like traditional college thing, I do understand why they say it, and I don't disagree, but it's rare. It's like the Michael Jordans that can, just skip that and just move into like running their own company.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
Although Grant Cardone's daughter, I don't know if you've seen her. Oh my God. I don't know. I'm not sure of her age, but do yourself a favor and look. She's like this little, like, entrepreneur. I mean, imagine having him as your father.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the things that come out of her mouth are really interesting, the way he's grooming her. But anyway, that's like 1 out of a billion.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I think the principle, and you said the word discipline. So I have 2 questions on discipline, but my first one, since you were just touching on it, is like the network that you have is critical.
Yeah.
Which requires you to take care of people. And I love that you said, even when you're like your family business is kind of a service business in a lot of ways, right? Because you have to take care of people. And I would imagine that a lot of the families that you guys service as a butcher, they were just like repeat customers,
Big time. Oh yeah.
So, and I operate my business the same. I know not everybody does, but especially for like any of the chiros or entrepreneurs watching, I would love to get your take on like client service and just like if you had to share strategies with people in terms of like what's it look like practically to like build a network or like build a relationship with someone where then it can eventually turn into selling a house or getting this job, and not because you're selfishly doing it, but I would love for you to just walk us through your mindset on like here's Michael's playbook, if you will, for like how to really truly take care of somebody and foster a relationship.
It sounds like a cliche, but
lay it on us. Dude.
Really, the only thing I know is to treat people like you want to be treated yourself.
And that's so good.
That's the cliche, but I always, and actually my secret is to always look at every situation where you're dealing with people from other perspectives than your own. Meaning, think about what they want, why they want it. Think about if you were in their shoes, how would want to be treated. So, when I'm in a transaction, I specifically try to think about, everyone involved, the buyer, the buyer's agent, the seller, me, my team, their team, like thinking about the ways that people are doing things and why they're doing them. because I see a lot of people who focus on one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're representing someone, your only goal is to achieve whatever it is that, whether it's a sale, whatever it is just from, a lot of people do it selfishly from their own
Yeah,
perspective.
for
So I
sure.
think you have to look at it from a 360.
Yep.
So that has always served me very well.
So good.
And it's like going back to the butcher shop. If you're on one side of the counter and you're always looking at the customer, and it's, you're putting things forward the way you want them to be put forward, sometimes you got to come out from the other side and look at it from their perspective and understand why they're there and what they're looking
Yeah.
for. And that could be any good or service. Same thing with, I mean, I've been coming here now, I don't know how long it's been, but
I
three
mean,
three
yeah,
years
dude,
or
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yep.
um and I've referred a number of people, and
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people, who now have been coming for a long time, and I know a couple people that have come once.
Yep.
And when you think about why people do what they do, most of the time people are very short-sighted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 100%.
Immediate gratification, like something's wrong. If it didn't work or didn't fix me
Yep.
immediately, they give up.
Yeah.
And that's back to discipline, right? So it all kind of circles around. I mean, discipline is really the foundation of everything in
Yeah.
life.
Man, that's so good. One of the things, this is like probably more of a Cairo specific strategy, and not saying it's the same as what you shared, but it's a piece of it. Is like one of the things that these guys will see me do on the regular is I'll go sit in each of the chairs and I'll look like around the office. Cause if there's like a spider web or a dead spider or like a bug,
Mm-hmm.
and so I get that like grossed out feeling, and I never want somebody else to sit in that seat and feel that
Yeah.
thing that I would feel. And so, even down to some of those details that we do our best to like literally hammer home here. I think it's just such a good point. It's like, don't look at it from just my perspective of like, I come in and I'm going to adjust people, but holistically look at your whole business. Like how many businesses I go into in the bathrooms gross me out. And I'm like, I don't know if I would like refer somebody there just because of that,
That's what I was saying. Come out from around the counter. Like
Yeah.
you have to, that's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah,
It's smart.
that's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, it's just a testament to who you are. One of the things when I was doing my deep dive on you, as I do with everybody that we interview, one of the things that came up multiple times was the fact that you are a stickler about deadlines. And I did not know that, but now I look at your track record. Is that true? Would you agree with that statement? In terms of like, you try your best to be on time, do what you say you're going to do it on time.
Well, certainly be on time. Yeah, it's funny if I showed you my text message to the team yesterday morning before my team meeting.
Yep.
It says, oh, I forget exactly what the quote was, but it more or less is, be 15 minutes early. Always be on time. Always be early. Early is on time.
Yep.
On time is late.
Yep.
And goes back to my father again. He was always like, hey, wherever you're going,
Yeah.
be there. My mother too. Be there 15 minutes early because you have to respect other people's time. That
sure.
was the core of it.
Yep.
Respecting other people's time. And when I have my meeting, if I'm sitting there waiting and someone comes in late, you're not respecting not just me, but everyone else who took the effort to be there on time.
Yep.
And that, I think, is back to what I was just saying, is like when you look at life from other people's perspective, you have to think like that. So punctuality to me is, well, I told you this morning, I was like, I would be here at 8
You're like,
for an
I'll be here at
8:30 call time,
Yep.
8:15 or whatever. And I was out in my car waiting. So that's important to me. Deadlines, I will say I'm not perfect, and I am a bit of a procrastinator sometimes. If it's something that I don't feel like doing,
Yep.
I will wait until almost the end of the deadline to do it.
Sure.
And that goes back to probably why I was a poor student. And we all have flaws.
Yep.
And we talking about mindset. The mindset game is, besides the discipline, well, and it's a discipline, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, look, I'm running 2 businesses, kids, school, like all this stuff. I have, occasion where I have like just a mental breakdown, and I'm like, I'm so stressed, I'm this, I'm that, right?
Yep.
And it's the stuff that you tell yourself becomes true. So I have this little trick where, like, the moment I say I'm so stressed, I just flip that to I'm so blessed.
So good.
Immediately.
Yeah. I
I don't let myself say it more than once.
Yep.
Right. And then from there, I have to go to either mentally journaling or physically journaling immediately of like, what am I talking about? I got a great job. I got a great wife. I
Hmm.
got a great family. I have a great car. I've got a great house. I got a great job, everything. Right. And you have to, and literally like,
So good.
it's, you have to reset the brain
Yeah.
because it's really easy to slip,
Yep.
when
Absolutely.
a deal's blowing up and this happens and that happens and it all seems to compound. I noticed one time there was this person, and I'll leave him nameless,
Sure.
but it was the type of person that every time I talked to them, it was like, oh man, I woke up this morning and I stubbed my toe on the bed.
Yep.
And then, I dropped my glass, and it broke. And then, my car broke down. And then, man,
Hmm.
I had a shitty day.
Yep.
And I would always say to this person, that's because when you stubbed your toe in the morning, you let it ruin your whole day
Yeah.
because it spiraled.
Yep.
Because you kept telling yourself, then other people, and you had it out in the universe. And what do you think you're going to attract? You're
Yeah,
just going to
exactly.
attract more of that bad stuff,
Yep.
right? So like things happen to us. You stub your toe, move on. It's still sunny outside. You still can breathe. You can still walk. What if you couldn't walk?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, dude, it's so funny. I joke about chiropractic school because it was the people who would complain about parking, and then they would complain about their instructors, and they like, dude, it was just constant like, this thing sucks, this thing sucks. It was always negative. But those were the same people who on like big test day would get rear-ended and have to make up their like, always just something continually bad happening to them, and it's
Yeah,
because that's all they focused on
that's it. Yeah,
was a negative. And I'm like, you could like look at like Atlanta's beautiful, you've been there.
yeah.
I don't particularly love it there, but it is beautiful there, I must say. And there's like all these things to be grateful for that they just want to complain about parking. So that's a huge part of it is that mindset.
You can buy like a plantation mansion for $5 million
Oh
there.
yeah, 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 no doubt
My
about it.
daughter's living in Buckhead, Atlanta right now, and yeah. I mean, would I want to move there full time? Probably not.
Nope,
Right?
couldn't
Like
do it.
I have to be near an ocean,
Yeah,
but there's a lot. Again, it depends on how you look at it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like there's a great food scene there, and there's a great it's a great place. These are all stepping stones though.
yep.
Like I told her, listen, you're going to stay there a year or two and then you're going to step on to,
Hmm.
she's headed to New York. I'm like, you got to go there for a couple years.
Yep.
End
So
up,
cool.
end up back in Laguna Beach
Yeah,
where,
no doubt.
this is where I mean, she asked me last night, do you think you'll always live in Laguna Beach? I was like, I'll always have a place here.
For sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, dude, this is, I mean, I don't know. I say best place on earth, to be honest with you, but I'm biased. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great places, but I think for when you really look at all of it, right?
yeah.
Like you could move to the south of France, but you think our government's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, healthcare is tricky there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always something.
For sure. So it's kind of a good segue. I would love to talk about discipline, but specifically around money, because
Mm.
I have a sneaking suspicion that with all of your time in the finance world and just the level of clientele that you deal with on a day-to-day basis and the team that you've grown and just what the amazing stuff that you're doing, give a lot of Kairos struggle like really, really hard with money and with making money and with how to like manage their money and all of it. So if you had to peel back, like it doesn't have to be advice for Kairos, but if you thought there were like big money breakthroughs or hacks or secrets that you share with people that are probably not secrets, what would those things be?
Wow, that's a tough one. You know, I'm gonna give you just a big overarching big idea, which one of my buddies who is extremely successful and has built and bought and sold many businesses, and one of the things that he continuously says, even though he has a you know G5 and he's got
Yeah, yeah,
I mean is think big,
yeah,
think bigger, think bigger,
yeah,
think bigger. He said, I've played small in the beginning, and I would be way bigger. But so I will say that that's the one thing that you have to invest in your business,
for sure.
think bigger.
Yep.
Sometimes like I'm even going through that right now with regard to building out this team where I have a PR firm, I
Hmm.
have a marketing firm,
Yep.
um, I have a firm helping me with my magazine. So I have all these people that there's a lot of expenditures.
Yeah.
Um, and believe it or not, you see a lot of these big home sales, and there's a lot of mouths to feed.
For sure.
I'm
Yeah.
not a single agent. Like
Right.
a single agent sells a $20 million home, they get a massive paycheck.
Yep.
We get a paycheck that comes into the business, and then it
Hmm.
gets dispersed to a lot of people, right? So, but I have that longer vision and that big picture, and thinking much bigger, right?
Yep.
So there will be cash flow constraints because you're investing.
Sure.
So don't be afraid to invest big
I love that.
for the long term,
Yeah, man.
because there are times when you're like, damn, I'm spending more than I'm bringing in,
Yep.
and but just have that big picture, think big, think bigger. Obviously, be smart. You can't run
Hmm.
if you don't have the cash flow, don't spend the money you don't have,
Right.
right?
Right.
But don't hold on to every penny like it's your last penny.
Yep.
That's that
Because then you
scarcity.
can't
It's the
grow. Yeah.
scarcity mindset,
Yeah.
right? So think bigger. um, Make contingencies. Obviously it's one of those old cliches, but you need to have savings in case, because there will be rainy days,
For sure.
there will be tough times, there will be times you cannot predict.
Yep.
Who knows what's going on these days with geopolitical and just economic.
Yeah.
It's right now, it's anyone who thinks they know what's going on, yeah, they don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not. But so make sure you have contingencies for,
Yeah.
to pay the bills if you need to go 6 to 12 months without bringing in revenue,
Yep.
because it could happen.
For sure.
But think bigger.
I love it.
That's yeah.
Yeah, that I mean, dude, it seems so counterintuitive, but I think that's what I've realized as we've invested in a media team and done some things that aren't it's not generating revenue. Like we're literally I kind of feel days there's like I'm burning money. And at the same time, I've also started to see some of the growth and the fruit of what will be on the other side as we continue to just push like, okay, we can't just stay one practice here, like it just it just doesn't make sense to do it. And for the longest time, I'm like, I don't know how it would work, or I'm scared to do it, or scared to invest in it. And now as we're doing it, I'm like literally watching it grow. But if it weren't for taking some of that little bit of risk that's calculated to do it, then I would still be in the same place I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think that's such good advice.
Yeah, and a lot of times, when I first started doing videos and putting content
Hmm.
out, call it, I don't know, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You go through these moments, or I went through these moments where I was just unsure if it was the right thing to do,
Yep.
and you get burnt out on it. It's like, I'm gonna have to go film, and I don't really like doing
For
it, and
sure.
then you get to a point, and we're like, you're not seeing, and like you said, fruits here, you're not seeing any direct correlation to income from it, right?
Yep.
You know, like you can't tie, and it took 2-3 years, and still, even I'm like, oh, now I'm spending way more money, but
Sure.
people from 2 or 3 years ago are now
Yep.
coming to me like, hey, I remember when you did this, and I like it's starting to pay off from 2 or 3 years ago. So it is
Hmm.
that long game. It is a long-term investment. Nothing you're going to do is going to, that's predictable, that
Yeah.
you invest in it, you're going to get a return immediately. If you believe that, you have to reevaluate.
Dude, I think that's so you made me think of a Hermosi video. I just saw him share it, and he's like in a group of there's probably 100 people in the room, and he's like, how many of you have just heard my stuff in the last 2 months? And like one guy raised his hand, and then he's like, how many of you have heard my stuff in the last 6 months? And a couple other people raised their hands, and then he's like, how many of you have been following for like 2 or 3 years? And the whole room has their hands up, and he's like, that's the difference between what a big brand does and what most of the small businesses do. Is he's like, they're trying to make the sale today and just be quick and rush it. And you just put it perfectly, dude. Is like some of the stuff is long, like all the overnight successes, dude. You listen to them and they're like, been doing YouTube for 7 years, been doing YouTube for 10 years. And
Yeah.
it's the same. And I love that it coming from you, because dude, you have so many reps and so much expertise in so many different fields. One of those being the financial place, where there's not a lot, like there are the like get rich quick things, but you even said you're like, be a little cautious about those, because of a lot of it just takes repetition and commitment and investment and time to really like grow into something that matters.
Yeah, I think that people are definitely afraid to invest in, you know, their businesses, properly.
For
Like
sure.
if you look at what, the percentage of revenue big
Yep.
companies put into their marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, small companies obviously can't do that, but whatever you think you should be investing in your marketing,
Hmm.
you should probably double it,
For sure.
even if it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Well, dude, you like even as some just to give evidence to what you're saying. Like you go watch Shark Tank or something like that, which is probably like unrealistic to think that way, but you listen to some of these companies who are like, we've done $10 million in revenue in 3 years and we still haven't made a penny from it because they're just pouring money into, and they have investors and whatever, but it's like it's that same idea. They're just pouring money into the marketing to get it to a place where it is profitable. And a small business a little bit different, but it's that like that's the same concept of what you're talking about, is like being willing to actually invest dollars to grow the thing. But so many people just pinch and hoard, and they're afraid that that it won't work out, or the whatever negative beliefs. And I think that's so it takes so much discipline and thought process and mindset as well.
Well, two of the probably most famous and, you know, controversial, figures. So you got Elon,
Yep.
who had his first success and literally took every single penny of it
Hmm.
and was sleeping on his friend's couch
Yeah.
after he sold PayPal. Literally went all in on this next idea and had no money,
Yep.
like zero.
Yep.
And then I've read that Mr. Beast
Hmm.
takes all of his, for the most part, most of his money and reinvests it. And look at him. I mean, he's got a multi-billion dollar
Yeah, it's massive.
YouTube. I mean, it's turned into, yeah, it's massive.
Yep.
He's the, you know, next to, some celebrity. He's like, he's up there.
Yeah,
And he went all in, and, again, that's a different, that's again the Michael Jordans,
for
those are
sure.
the one offs.
Yep.
But just take that mentality and at a different level, and like, go all in on yourself for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's so important. Is there any other, like, I don't want to say contrarian, but advice you would give people? It doesn't have to be about money, just like anything that you would say, hey, if you really want to break through, and like, dude, I can't stress enough that the level of people that you work with takes a different breed of person. Like, not everybody can work with, I'll just say elites like you can. So, like, any advice you would share of just people trying to break through and like serve people at a higher level?
Well, the one thing that I've noticed, when we deal with, the very top
Mm-hmm.
0.01%,
Mm-hmm.
and most are, I will say, most are business owners that, I mean, the majority have made their own money. I don't have any trust fund,
Yeah.
kid type clients.
Yeah.
Um, and with the exception of a few athletes, I mean, mostly it's people who built a business. I
Yep.
mean, some are, you know, trained physicians who really, if you peel it back, are entrepreneurs,
Sure.
because they don't just put on a coat and see patients. They have 7 locations and they've built it to be, and they own the real estate. And
Yep.
so they're entrepreneurs. But what the one key attribute that I've always identified and noticed is that, without exception, every single house that I've gone into that's 20, 30, 40, $50 million,
Mm-hmm.
they're obsessively anal about organization and discipline. And like the house is like any day you go in, the house will be spotless. It's almost clinically like
Yeah. Yeah.
OCD, but
Yeah.
I think it takes that kind of clinical OCD mindset of having discipline, having everything organized, having your life, straight. That mindset and trait is, I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it takes to get to that level.
Yeah.
So get organized, get disciplined, you know, be just like crazy about everything in your life. I have opportunity there. Like, I have this weird thing where I throw everything in the trunk of my car, and I see some people that where they're, like Joe on my team, like his trunk is like perfect, right?
Yep.
And it kind of weighs on my head sometimes. Like, I need to clean my trunk out.
Yeah.
So I will say that I don't always practice what I preach, and that's maybe why I'm not, the number one real estate agent in the world. But so there's always opportunities, and I think identifying where you have those opportunities and working on them.
Sure.
Again, it's back to mindset. Like, when I noticed that I'm kind of falling off, we both know Nick Long and went through
Mm-hmm.
that program, and I fall back on this, like, core 4,
Yeah.
where I don't necessarily get to all 4 of them in the morning, but I'm always doing the journaling
Yep.
and always getting my mindset straight before I go out the door.
Yeah.
Those are the things I think that discipline and that like figure out how to do that stuff better and you'll make it to the goals.
Yeah, man. And I think like one of the coolest things and one of the things I appreciate about you is that I see you live it. Like I've walked with you through maybe like in your different nutritional journeys, like losing quite a bit of weight and then keeping it off for like multiple years, which most people do not do. So I would just say more just to vouch for you and everything that you're saying on discipline level. Like, dude, you are consistent week after week after week after week in here to get adjusted. And those little small things I know carry over to the other day to day with your nutrition, with the way you work out, with the way you talked about journaling and like catching those mindsets where most people would just let it drift and then have a bad day and then a bad week, where you have been consistent. Where I think with the level at which you work and how busy you guys get sometimes, like it would be very easy to fall off. So I would just say testament to you, man, for staying committed and really just being an example for a lot of people who don't know and don't see what it takes to be at that level.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quickly because I think it's important. It might help someone.
Sure.
So if we rewind back to, I can't remember the year that I started doing triathlon, but I started doing triathlon, and at that time I became obsessed with it. And this was, I guess, about 15 years ago.
Yep.
And I spent, I don't know, 8 or 10 years obsessed with that sport. And at that time, I decided to give up drinking alcohol because my training was regimented.
Yep.
Like it was like crazy. And I, maybe almost to an unhealthy point, I obsessed about like, weighing my food and like all that kind of stuff. But I had a goal. I had a target, right? Like I had races on the calendar and I needed to meet those, goals.
Yeah.
But I realized that while doing that, I became ultra fit, but I also realized that with the absence of alcohol in my life, it was way better on every level.
So good.
Fast forward to COVID. And so I didn't drink for like 8 years.
Yep.
Fast forward to COVID. And we all thought, my house, we were all crammed in a tiny house in Laguna Beach and, we didn't know if we were going to live or die. So
sure.
My wife and daughter were both like, hey, why don't you start drinking wine with us? Cause we may not make it through this. Right. In the very beginning, no one knew what was going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, people hindsight always say I knew that was a hoax and this and that, and whatever. But I remember not knowing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll have a glass of wine. And then so I started drinking wine again during COVID. And then that turned into, drinking tequilas at lunch, and that turned into drinking more wine at dinner. And I'm not good at regulating things. Like I'm very obsessive, right? So
Yeah.
so I drink very well, drink a lot. And I was like, you know what? This is not serving me. You wake up in the morning, you don't feel well, you eat an egg sandwich, it just spirals into things that don't serve you.
Sure.
And after about a year and a half, I was like, I'd put on 40 pounds, wasn't exercising, was just foggy all the time and felt like shit. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I have to go back to what I know, which was just being disciplined. So that the risk reward benefits, that my whole life has been taught from compliance early on about risk reward, right? Like, what are you going to do? What are the risks? What are the rewards? And is it worth it? So I decided to cut out alcohol again, and it's been 3 years. But to each his own. I hang out with everybody. People, my wife drinks, everybody drinks. Just for me, I wake up every morning early, clear, know what my goals are, have nothing that kind of like gets in the way of that. And back to the weight loss, I started this new lifestyle of nutrition, which is basically carnivore. So I cut out all fried things and basically all the bad stuff, right? Yeah. People argue whether or not it's good for you. I don't really care. It's working for me.
I can tell you that it works for you because I've just seen the transformation. So keep doing it, bro. Yeah.
Never felt better. It's funny. I think, people want to root for you to fail sometimes. Like,
of course.
Because
they feel better about themselves.
You're going to get cholesterol. You're going to get, you're going to have a whatever. Like, I don't think so, but we'll see. But I feel great. So no alcohol, watch your diet, no seed oils, no fried food, just be disciplined and watch how your life explodes.
Boom.
Like, cause I'm really happy about the place that I'm in. So
I'm happy about the place you're in. Like, dude, you look great. You think well. I just love it. I'm honored to have you on. So before, I want to do two last things. So one, if people wanted to follow along on your journey, learn more about all the cool stuff that you're up to, what's the best ways for them to do that? I know you have a couple channels.
Yeah, I have a few. I mean, the main ones, just my name, Michael Balliet.
Yep.
So Instagram,
Insta, yep.
LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn's the one thing that I think, circling back, if I can help anyone, um, I think it's underused and
For sure.
underappreciated, and young people build your network, get on LinkedIn. If you haven't heard of it, Google it,
Yeah.
and start building it. It is a place where actual business people go.
Yep.
Obviously Instagram is great. TikTok, I think, melts people's brains, but
Mhm.
so don't spend time doing that, kids. Get off of that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my kids have been on TikTok way too long, but so at Michael Balliet,
Cool.
appreciate the plug there.
Yeah, man, of course.
Got YouTube, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
just Google my name, you'll see a lot.
Love it. And then any last parting advice you would give people before we jump off and get you to your team meeting?
Well, I have to give you a plug, because if you are in Southern California, if you are in Orange County, and you have any, issues that you suffer from, whether it's migraines or whether it's back or whether it's, knee issues, whatever it may be, come see Dr. Daniel.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I've been doing it. I mentioned it earlier. I know one person that was like, oh, I went once and I didn't,
Mhm.
I didn't walk out like immediately cured. It's a process. You have to believe in the process.
Yep.
And for me, the reason I know it works is that when you go on vacation,
This is my favorite thing that you always say.
because it's true.
Yeah.
I notice, number one, when I work out, my recoveries are like 2 to 3 days versus normally now. Sometimes I have very little
Yeah.
soreness, almost ever.
Yeah.
And when those times when you leave for 2 weeks, which is only once a year, I think,
Yep.
right?
Once a year.
My back tends to go out, which is crazy. like I'll get that thing that I don't have throughout the rest of the year. So I know it works.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that greatly. So, and it's really, I can't take credit. It's a testament to you. You show up, your body does a healing. You know this. I tell you this all the time. But any last parting words of wisdom from the man?
Discipline. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the word.
I think that's the
It's
word for the episode.
It's the word. I mean, it's do the hard things. One thing that I like to try and do is, like, I know that there's something hard that I have to do every day.
Yep.
Try and just do that immediately, because I'm the king of procrastination, and I will kick it down if I allow myself. So it's like when you let your brain tell you you're
Yeah.
stressed, like that blessed switch where you flip it. It's
Yep.
like, if you know you have to do some hard things, just do it right away.
So good.
Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah. Discipline. I think that's like, I think you nailed it in so many different aspects. And it's just the fruits of your discipline have shown in, your network, your net worth, and all, and just who you are as a person, and like a man to man level. So Michael, I'm just grateful for your time. I know you have an insanely busy life. So to make the hour to just come and hang out and drop wisdom for everybody listening is just so grateful, man. Couldn't words don't even express the gratitude that I have for you being here.
Same. I appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah,
for
dude.
having me.
Appreciate you, brother.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, fam. Peace.